Two outside hitters made it into the so-called dream team of the World Championship in Manila, Alex Nikolov and Alessandro Michieletto, one right-handed, the other left-handed. Coincidence? Perhaps, or maybe a small gift that suits us perfectly today.
Do you remember how we discussed arm movement in previous episodes? How we patiently named each mistake one by one. Not to dwell on errors, but to prevent them. Today we'll present them as animations, so no one is put in the spotlight or made to feel, that was me. Our goal is to give boys and girls a start that doesn't go wrong from the very first step.
Because what's worse than a poorly established movement pattern? And what's more beautiful than creating the conditions where mastery can one day grow? Perhaps the very kind we admire today in Nikolov and Michieletto.
And a well-established movement pattern, Nikolov shows it without saying a word. During the wind-up, his elbow goes back, passes through the bow and arrow position, and only just before the hit does it rise upward. It pulls the forearm and hand with it to the highest possible point where it meets the ball. Simple, clear, and we immediately bring this element into training.
And we immediately demonstrate it with a left-handed player to remind ourselves that left-handers follow the same principles as right-handers, just mirrored, essentially nothing new, and yet it's worth remembering.
And what about Michieletto? His style is entirely personal. He doesn't pull his elbow back but to the side. Is that poor technique? From the standpoint of ideal movement biomechanics, yes, but he turned a flaw into a strength and attacks mainly from above, over the block. At 211 centimeters tall, he can afford an attacking style that certainly isn't for everyone.
And for comparison, we present another signature style, the so-called circle arm swing, which is becoming increasingly common in volleyball, shown here by the Japanese spiker Nishida. A different arc, a different rhythm, but the same goal.
But we continue with the development, moving on to throwing. The old wisdom from our coaches still holds true. If you can't throw, you can't spike. So in the beginning, we simply throw, again and again, in different variations and with different preliminary movements that faithfully replicate the action of both arms, not just the hitting arm, during a real spike. We pay attention to every detail: proper movement, correct distance from the net, proper body positioning with the left hip forward, and for left-handers, the opposite. Typical mistakes. One common one, especially with girls. When throwing with the right hand, the right hip is in front instead of back. A small thing? Not at all. These small details are where big bad habits are born.
It might be worth asking Michieletto and Nikolov how many throws they actually made in their early years. Who knows? Maybe it was those thousands of throws that brought them to where they are now. And then, naturally, came the actual spike in the development of players. The arm already knows what to do from throwing, and now coordination takes the stage, how to synchronize the arm movement with the ball's trajectory. The wall is, as always, an excellent training partner. We also add the hit after a forearm pass, and for now, no jumping yet.
Naturally, mistakes are part of the process. In the first clip, the elbow rises upwards instead of moving back. In the second, the hand doesn't drop far enough behind the head to find the most optimal trajectory for a powerful hit.
And while we spoke about Michieletto's deviation in the windup, when it comes to the actual swing, everything is perfectly executed. Standard, textbook form, entirely comparable to Nikolov's.
We've learned the correct motion of the hitting arm and how to coordinate it with the ball's trajectory. So it might seem like we're ready to start spiking. But hold on. So far, we've only mastered it on the ground without jumping, and that's not enough. So next, a small detour, proper throwing after an approach, which we'll break down in the next episode, and the release of the overball, again in many variations, because nothing should be rushed.
There are different variations. For example, transferring the overball from the left to the right hand in front of the body at the moment of takeoff, pulling down a held overball during the jump and releasing it before landing. That's already quite a bit harder. And then comes the peak of the entire sequence, catching a tossed overball mid-air and sending it over the net with correct arm action. 12-year-olds struggle with all their might, while 14-year-olds already handle it quite confidently.
And then come the real volleyball spikes. Okay, for now it's still into a held so-called dead ball, so we're leaving timing aside. Even so, the player has a lot to focus on. For instance, we check the correct arm swing before takeoff simply by throwing 2 tennis balls in the direction of the approach and so on.
And now, we enter full volleyball reality. The attack after the set is the cornerstone of every team's offense. And like it or not, the outcome is decided in the attack. That's why we devote so much time to the hitting technique. And our overview wouldn't be complete without mentioning physical conditioning. Not strength training in the strictest sense, but from an early age, honest work on a healthy foundation for developing strength.
To conclude, let's recall our 2 guides in various attacking situations. No approach attacks, all kinds of tips and power tips, one-legged emergency swings, and attacks from both the right and the left. Just to make it clear, attacking is not only about technique but also about variability. And that's exactly what our young players will need to master. But that's a topic for the next episode.